after the Greeks, the next main interesting population to appear on the territory of what's now Ukraine were the Goths. And by the Goths, like, I don't mean, I don't mean like your friend who couldn't take this class because it was too early in the morning. I mean the actual the actual Goths, like the Germanic-speaking peoples who emerged probably from they emerged in the 1st century AD or so around the Baltic Sea, and they immigrate to what's now Ukraine. And from the 2nd, or at the very latest, the 3rd century AD, they dominate the territory. They're not the only people there. There are still Scythians, lots of other Iranian speakers, but these Germanic-speaking Goths arrive and they control the territory for a few hundred years. They then have an interesting relationship with the Roman Empire. Many of them fight in Roman armies. They have territorial struggles around the Danube River, which is roughly the border between the Roman Empire and the Goths. They learn things from the Romans. One of the things they learn from the Romans is Christianity. So many of the Goths, we can't be sure how many, but many of the Goths convert to Christianity in the 4th century AD. So if anyone ever does ask you about the first conversion to Christianity in Ukraine, it's not the 10th century and Volodymyr, it's actually the 4th century. The Bible is brought by someone called, it's a great name, Wulfila. It just means little wolf, right? So I know, like, while you're in university, you're probably not thinking about like having kids, and you're not like, what am I going to call them and stuff. But just remember Wulfila, like little wolf. It's a nice name. Okay. Again, like, I just try to give your brains a break every so often, right? Because I know as soon as I say having kids, your brains just turn off completely. Okay, but you can understand that when I say Wulfila means little wolf, like, that's not really surprising to you, right? That's the magic of Indo-European. Wulfila is a Gothic name from 1700 years ago from Ukraine. And nevertheless, you don't have any trouble understanding what it means, right? If I say Wulfila means little wolf, you're not the least bit surprised. Okay. So there was an interaction between the Goths and the Romans, which went badly in the late 4th century, when, again, remember, Ukraine opened from the east. In the late 4th century, the Huns appear, and the Huns drive many of the Goths across the Danube River. And once they're across the Danube River, they make all kinds of trouble for the Roman Empire. In various constellations, they kill a couple of Roman emperors, which is mostly a no-no. They sack Rome itself in 410. Later in the 5th century, a leader of one group of Goths, a man called Theodoric, is asked by the Roman emperor in Constantinople, essentially to take over the Western Roman Empire, which he does. These Goths are so impressive for a couple of reasons. And it has to do with the basic point about encounter in Ukraine. The Goths managed to come all the way down to Ukraine, where they encountered Scythians and they learned things from them. They never themselves became major mounted warriors, but they did learn how to fight on horseback. Then the Goths had a long encounter with the Romans, from which they learned various other fighting techniques. Then the Goths were conquered by the Huns. Okay, so you probably know, you know who the Huns are, right? The Huns are the people who threatened the Roman Empire. But the Goths were probably the major part of the Hunnic Empire in terms of the armed forces. The Goths sat for 100 years with the Huns in what's now Hungary. And during that time, the Goths learned more things, right? So the Goths who spread through Western Europe, as Central and Western Europe, as they're doing now, as I'm narrating, it's not that you had like one ethnic group with like one program. These people encountered Scythians, they encountered Romans, they encountered Huns, they learned things along the way, and by the 5th century, they were in control of the Western Roman Empire. And not long after that, a group of them was in control of southern France and founded the state which we now know as Spain. A group of Goths founded Spain. So there's a story about the rise and fall of the Roman Empire. And if you're a rise and fall of the Roman Empire kind of person, you tend to think, well, Rome was great, and then these terrible people came and they sacked it, and that was very bad. I'm obviously taking a different view, right? The view that I'm taking is that the sack of Rome and the subsequent rule of the Western Roman Empire by the Goths is an interesting example of something else, which is the migration of populations, the learning that accrues by way of encounter, the fact that Rome didn't actually ever fall. Like the notion of a fall is so attractive, right? Because first of all, it's visually attractive because you picture like all the monuments and things in Rome physically falling, right? And then you imagine the barbarians like dancing in the rubble. It's an incredibly attractive image. It doesn't really happen like that. People sack cities, they do terrible things, but Rome never fell like that. The Goths had control of it for a while, and then Rome kind of fades out into the emerging West European states, the first of which is Spain. And Spain is founded by the Goths. Okay, so this story is a story of circulation. It's a story of the movement of peoples, in which Ukraine is a major part of the story, the central part of the story. It's also a story about what actually happens to Rome, which is that it's ruled by people who came from Ukraine for a while. It's also a story of the foundation of the first European Christian kingdom, which is Visigothic Spain, which is also founded by people who came from Ukraine. Now, the way that the story is never told like that, right? Like if you go to Museum of Spanish History, and I've checked, they never say, like, by the way, we were founded by people who came from Ukraine. Which is a sort of banal thing, like it's just obviously true. The Goths came from Ukraine, everybody knows that. But nobody actually puts this together. And it's an example of a fundamental point I was trying to make. The things that are most important are often the things that are pushed aside.